First time I've seen when Republican leadership is actively whipping the Republican conference to support Harry Reid and give him the power to enact his agenda. I've never seen that before. I'm quite confident is not what Texans expect of me. And I'm quite confident when each Republican goes back to his or her home state, it's not what our constituents expect of us. And I'm also quite confident that if and when we return home and stand in front of our constituents, if we're asked, Senator, why did you vote yes on cloture to give Harry Reid the power to fund Obamacare to gut the House continuing resolution? None of us were elected by our party leadership. We've got a different boss. So any Republican who casts a vote for cloture is saying, yes, I want Harry Reid to have the power to do that, and then I'll vote against it once it no longer matters, once it's a free symbolic vote.
That's the some of the highlights of Senator Ted Cruz from his overnight filibuster that he concluded around 12 noon. To East Coast time today, coming to an end in kind of a hostile fashion. Harry Reid tried to interject and get him to agree to give time to Senator McCain and do a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't understand the strategy on that at all. And Senator Cruz, relatively unfazed after standing on his feet for 20 hours and so forth, agreeing not to yield the floor to him, and I was glad to see that took place the way it did. We're talking about the filibuster. We're talking about Obamacare. We're talking about the aftermath of what will have happened here, and I want to get your reaction. How do you think the American people have responded, especially given the fact that there were significant Republican leaders that said to Senator Ted Cruz, "Don't do this. You're not helping our cause. You shouldn't be doing this," et cetera, et cetera. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. He was wanting the American people to hear, now that you have, what do you have to say? Let's talk to George in Missouri. George, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough on AFA Today. Hi.
Hey, Kevin. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
God bless Ted. I pray that the Lord Jesus puts a hedge of protection around Ted Cruz. What a patriot. What a patriot. These people ought to be ashamed of themselves. These Republicans and Democrats alike, they're working for us. They should be ashamed that they're acting like this. That man, all you got to do, Ted, is put your name on the ballot in 2016. You got my vote, brother. I want to put out an attaboy, Ted, and all these other Republicans. You vote against, or you don't stand with Ted and the rest of the people in the United States, you're fired.
All right, George, a little fired up yourself, and I think that's okay. I think being engaged is a good thing. I don't think the answers for our ultimate problems come from politics, but I loved what Steve Day said in the opening segment, and it was very simple. For people that put their faith in Jesus Christ and saw that when all the world laughed, mocked, crucified, spat, beat, and did everything else to him that they could, and he rose, we should not have any ounce less of faith in someone that's willing to do the right thing. And it doesn't matter the party. This isn't about party politics. This is about what's doing right for the American people. And I too reflect that gratefulness. Let's go to Marty in North Carolina. Marty, you're next on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're with us.
Hey, Kevin, how's it going, man?
Good. Thanks for being here.
I'm not Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative. I'm just an American, and the common denominator here is it's the laudable. It's not possible. They say it's an Affordable Health Care Act. Healthcare isn't affordable. It can't be affordable because it's all capitalism. Capitalism means you have to make money for your shareholders. You got the hospitals, the pharmaceutical companies. You got all these different companies out there trying to make a profit, and it's so broad, and it encompasses the entire country. And all these people are using it, and they got to keep paying more money and more money and more money. hey, Mr. Cruz is doing a good thing, okay, because it's not going to work the way it is, but they're not coming up with a solution that will work. We need some way to control the market to keep it affordable, or it will always be an inaffordable healthcare. It's just the nature of it.
Well, I to some degree agree with that, Marty, but let me also say this. There's a lot of stewardship that's involved in the healthcare debate, and if you're someone that eats 16 Big Macs a day, smokes a pack of cigarettes, and goes to bed at night with a jar of whiskey, and my wife prepares organically grown vegetables, lean meats, lots of whole grains, and so forth, I don't think that the market should treat the treatment of our health the same. I don't think that I should pay the same healthcare premiums as someone that does as unhealthy a thing as possible, because here's why. I'm already trying to be a proactive steward of the health of my family. And it doesn't make any sense to me for the really healthy family to pay for the health care of the chain smoker who gets lung cancer. It doesn't make any sense to me for the really healthy wage earner and the really healthy family that are having to maybe spend a little bit more money even up front, eating and living their life that way. It doesn't make any sense for me to say that they have to pay for the guy that eats 15 Big Macs a day. At the end of the day, if we reworked the idea and got back to the basics in our soul, that I am responsible for myself. What happens to me, I am responsible for. The problem is with the healthcare issue, what we end up acting like is that health is this objective thing that is outside of us, and that for whatever reason that's unfair to us, things attack us and things get us and things do, and we're victims to it. And so what do? We flip into the victim mentality. Oh, woe is me. I got to have welfare and Medicare and Medicaid to solve all my problems in this area. It's a twofold thing. Capitalism is part of it, and God bless capitalism that has given us the breakthrough medical technologies that are helping to cure people from diseases that were previously uncurable. But at the same time, if we choose to do the right thing in caring for the, temple of the Holy Spirit, the body that he's given us, if we start out striving to do the right thing, then there's less of that we are a burden to other people with in the sense that my health becomes someone else's problem. And it really boils down to sin, friends. Healthcare is an issue. It's a spiritual issue. It's an issue of I'm going to do what I want to do. And if that's the case, I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't do what you want to do. Maybe you do want to be a terrible, terrible steward of your body and of your health. You have the right under the American ideal to be allowed to do that. I also should not be required to pay the consequences for your bad choices. So that's really where, there is some free market choice. There's some proactive stewardship that needs to be involved here. And yes, I think from time to time, there's compassion that needs to be invoked and concern for people that are in tough spots. But the problem is, if we say we're going to be there for people in the tough spots, then all of a sudden everybody says that they're in a tough spot, and they want everybody to be able to take advantage of the same thing that really the people that were just really genuinely in the tough spot should be dealing with. This is part of the grand dilemma. Healthcare, the reason it's such a big issue is because it encompasses so many different parts of our lives, but specifically the spiritual part, and the choice we have to rebel against God or not. And when we don't take care of the temple, I'm not saying we worship the temple. I'm not saying we become, body image worshipers. No, I'm not saying that. But you know the difference in healthy and non-healthy. It's okay to indulge and to treat yourself every now and then, but are you trying to strive for a healthy life? Are you being a good steward of the resource that God has given you by way of the health that you have? See, if we lived in that light all the time, the healthcare dilemma would be much less of a problem. It's the willfulness. It's the sinfulness. It's the I'm going to do what I want to do and make you pay for it mentality that is the problem. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. Let me take Ricky's call from Ohio. Ricky, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're with us. Hi.
Hi. I agree with what he's doing, but they should, if they want to pass this, since they think this Obamacare is so good and everything, everybody should live by it. The President, Congress, and the Senate. And don't give no exclusions.
Right.
And if you do that, after they're going to say, hey, we can't do this, we'll just get rid of it, period. And see, my kids can't get full-time jobs nowhere. They just graduated college a year and a half ago, and they said, we would like to make you full-time, but Obamacare is keeping us from that.
Mm-hmm.
And they got college loans. How are they going to do that with this Obamacare? And my daughter dropped off of my insurance this year in December, and it's going to be cost her $500-600 a month just to cover her.
Yeah.
That is
part of the overarching problem, Ricky. We have got the Obamacare issue is not just one or two things. It is an overarching, all-encompassing cloud of problems for businesses that want to hire people but feel like they can't because it's going to put them in an adverse situation. And then there'll be some people that will sit there and go, oh, well, Cav, the business is just being selfish. No, the business isn't being selfish. The business's purpose for existing is to create widgets or services, etc., that then keep that business active. If you don't make a profit, the business doesn't stay in business. Therefore, you cannot have anyone working there. The purpose of a for-profit company is to make a profit, and there's nothing inherently morally wrong with profit. Not everything is supposed to be done at a zero-cost basis, because that's the way you plan into the future as to be able to grow, hire new people, give more people work. That's what a properly run, well-stewarded business should do. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Paul in Texas. Hi, Paul.
Yeah, Ted Cruz is absolutely doing the right thing. Not only that, even if he doesn't get the legislative target that he's going through, he's already produced tangible results. Does anybody think that if he and Mike Lee hadn't put up that Defund It Now website and started campaigning and doing what he did, that the Speaker of the House would have, Boehner would have even passed the legislation that he had? And more importantly...
It's doubtful.
Yeah, more importantly, he is finally recalibrating the Republican Party. For example, I live here in Texas, and now that I know that Ted Cruz is willing to do whatever it takes within his legal right to do so, while John Cornyn is sort of willing to do it if it seems to be politically expedient for him, that's useful information to me. And even more importantly is that when you stand up with a spine and a backbone, you actually produce results and you push the debate and the issues in the direction that you want. Your job isn't to go to Congress to see what you can possibly get as a handout. And you already gave the historical background. I'll never forget when Obama came on TV after the first continuing resolution debacle where Boehner caved, and the smile and smirk of satisfaction on his face. If you replay that, when he, quote, stood up for Planned Parenthood abortion funding, he was absolutely beside himself. And ever since then, Boehner and the rest of the Republicans sit around and wring their hands, worrying about what crumbs might they throw them. But at least Ted Cruz has put Harry Reid on notice.
Right.
We are not your lapdogs. We are your political opposition. And you and Obama can thumb your nose and say, we don't negotiate because we own everything. Well, guess what? You don't. And at least he's changed the tone of that.
No, I think he has. And he raised awareness about the depth of the problem with the legislation in ways that I don't think a lot of people could have with organized media campaigns. I think this extended time on the floor, which all goes into the congressional record, was a great way to raise to the nation's face, this is a problem, and here's why. Here's some noted reasons why. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. Just a couple of minutes left. Let's see if we can get another call or two in. Monty is in Texas. Hi, Monty. Welcome. You're on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I would just like to say God bless Ted Cruz and Mike Lee. Those guys are true warriors for our freedom in this country. and they're trying to take back our freedom, our way of life from the progressives in both parties who are trying to destroy us and turn our country into a socialist country. I mean, you look at the things that are going on today with the health care law and the IRS having control of your health care records. When that happens, it's very likely that whoever is in power, if they choose to, they can target their opposition through health care.
Yeah.
Like they targeted their opposition with the Tea Parties in 2010 here in Texas with Catherine Engelbrecht and her Tea Party Patriots and True the Vote thing. She had 18 different visits from 5 different organizations over a 3-year period of targeting by the IRS.
Right.
Now they're going to be in charge of our health care. I don't think that's a good thing, and I think that the people of this country need to be aware that this is going to fundamentally not only change the way you have a relationship with your doctor, but it's going to fundamentally change the way we in America are allowed to live.
Couldn't agree more, Monty. Well said. Thank you for your call. And I know, friends, the phone lines are jammed. We're going to have to save some of this conversation for another day, or just hold on, because I think Brian Fisher at Focal Point will probably pick up the ball and run with it as well. It is the top story of the day. The Ted Cruz, not filibuster, and glad to have been with you on AFA Today here on AFR Talk. I'm Calvin McCullough. We'll see you tomorrow.